Thank you all
okay?
for coming far away from, I know, Maryland and Washington and Oregon and did I miss anyone that's here?
West Virginia.
Idaho, how could I forget that? Oh, and West Virginia. Okay.
Well, that's just something.
Did I get everyone?
Love handles.
Okay, so I just wanted to do here, I wanted to, with my father's wine and other wine here, just as we're all here together as a family, I just wanted a toast to John Hayes.
Yay.
John Hayes.
There you are. We love you, John.
We love you.
We know you're flying
One of those
around.
really nice
You're
people
a spirit now.
that we all wish we could be like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if anyone else wants to say anything or not, Steve, do you want to say anything? Put him on the
Steve's
spot.
tongue tied?
Yes.
That's probably the first time.
Eleanor? No?
Well,
Okay.
you know,
She did.
my father was a good father, and you know, it's true what they said. I learned all my bad language when my father would watch the Lakers and the Celtics play. Take me back millions of years, and he made me think Larry Bird was the devil. My father was passionate about anything he believed in: his teams, his children, his science, his religion. So, you know, it really hasn't 100% hit me yet that he's gone, and I'm probably going to notice again come college football season. But he was a good man and a good father, and I look back and I'm glad I had him for as long as I did. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Brandy, have you been taking a lot of pictures?
I took some videos about it, but
Oh, okay. I didn't know if anybody else was taking pictures
Eleanor?
of the people here. No.
Let's just all stare at one another.
Yes.
She spoke at church.
Words of wisdom, Eleanor.
She spoke at church. That's a long way. Yeah.
All the way from West
You know-
Virginia. Yes.
I had, a lot of friends in Baltimore, some that had great dads, but a lot that just did not really have good fathers. And, friends and relatives in Seattle, some of which, actually my closest group of friends, only 2 of them had really, really, strong fathers. And I just realized I was just how lucky I was, to have a father that was just, everything a father should be. A little quick-tempered. And by the way, I inherited that temper. I still get that same flash of rage at an innocent nail.
Or wastebasket.
And I said, not the best math tutor because he just couldn't understand why I couldn't do the quadratic equation. But, Daddy, can you help me with my long division? But other
Great
than
father.
that, Yep.
2 great fathers.
Okay.
Great
For
cousin.
me, I met John before Eleanor and I got married.
That Eleanor, not me.
Wow! Good time to bring that up.
Wasn't asking a few questions.
Yeah.
We had many wonderful times at that table, at this counter, and for me personally, the world has a little more of a tilt to it now. John's passing.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
I'm just a cousin.
It's a dime a dozen around here.
Judy and John, on our side of the family, are the one that got us back together for our family reunions. We hadn't seen each other
wow.
in 30 years, I think it was, maybe,
Wow.
something like that. And they both worked together to make sure that we all got back together, and we still see everybody. And you and him are my heroes.
You're here.
I have to say that
No more wine for her.
my mother's side of their family used to have family reunions when I was small. And there was a big fight And they decided they weren't going to have any more family reunions. And they didn't, and that's one reason about the prodigal son, I think. You know, families forgiving each other and going on. And so, young kids, we used to be together a lot, but there was a big disagreement, and so I guess we got started getting together later where we could appreciate each other more. And so,
Her and John were always the life of the party.
well, me, my language was a little better than John's. I do have to tell this story about him. After we were married, we didn't really have a honeymoon because we got married over Labor Day. And I had to start teaching school right afterwards, and so we decided that he would go, his Navy ship went to the Caribbean, and he was going to be there over Christmas time. So we planned our honeymoon there. As we went down there, oh, this idyllic place. It was just wonderful. And we sat out on the beach, and there was a chess set there.
Oh, I know this.
I know this one too.
So we decided to play chess. Well, I got him in a fool's mate. He was so bad. He knocked the pieces all over the place, just as the captain of his ship and the exec were coming by. This chess set. So finally things settled down, and he said, let's play again.
Because he had to win.
Because he had to win. I got him on the exact
But just goes to prove he wasn't quite as smart as your mom was.
I cannot believe that you fell for a fool's mate again after all of that.
Did you hit the chessboard again?
Yeah. We didn't play any more chess. We decided so we like to win. And that's true. And the story Laura told about him being on trains and so absorbed that the train would go all the way out there and he'd be sitting there still working away while the lights go out. Finally figures one case he was in Paris and he was giving a seminar, and he just could not stand, his mind was always thinking, always. He couldn't stand to be still for a while, and so they told him how to, we were in Paris, they told us how I wasn't with him. Normally I'd watch him, but this case, and they said, and be sure at such and such a station to change trains. But he didn't. He gets way out there in the middle of nowhere. This time no one told him. He finally looks out, and there's nobody on the train. So he finally begins to realize, I guess, maybe there's a problem. And he gets out, and the French come along, and they're lecturing him, and they put him on one of those little cars. Pumping back to the station. Well, should we say he was late for his seminar? But then he just something really exciting. I mean, he loved the Navy. He really loved the Navy. This great camaraderie of men out on the ships and sailing out there. But the Navy has long periods of boredom. And he just couldn't take that. His mind was always working. He just couldn't. And that's why he left the Navy. Went to graduate school. So he was always thinking. And that's that's why at the end it was so sad when he was so medicated he couldn't think anymore. And he was slowly losing his ability to read. And it was very sad. He couldn't do it anymore. It was so sad. To see this grief on himself. But he always says he has his wonderful cousins, his nieces. That keeps it moving on to him.
When Dad was in his mid-60s, he said, well, I think I'm going to retire at 70 and concentrate on writing. So, when I'm about 67, 68, I'll stop writing proposals. And I was like, oh, Dad, you're going to retire at 70. Okay.
Right.
And, so I come and he's 66 and he's writing proposals. 67, 68, 69, 70. 71.
It was a bad habit.
Dad, I thought you were going to retire when you were 70, and he's like 72, and he's still writing grant proposals.
But there's all this new technology, and there's all this exciting stuff, and
And then and then a lot of his cousins were starting to retire, and he says, "Well, I'm going to do this," and Dave said, "John, we're not waiting for you." Yeah, he just did not believe him when he said he was going to retire at 70.
no,
Evidently, he's really good at it, right?
Yep.
Proposals, so.
Yes.
he was quite a writer.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yes, absolutely, Jack.
Well, I've only known Vanka for 15 years, and that's not as long as most of you, but I was figuring it this way. Even though he may be gone, I was one in 1.5 billion people who got to be his grandchild. Out of 7 people in the world, I was 1 in 5 who were his grandchild. And thinking about that made me realize that I should really, instead of focusing on how he's gone, cherish the memories I had with him.
He loved you, Jack.
Cheers on that one. That was good.
Jack.
Cheers, Jack.
So do you plan to have another sort of celebration of John sometime, probably in June sometime? We all have some festive thing and probably give out bottles of wine.
Where are you going to get that?
I don't know, they're all done, I think, after tonight.
To sort of plan, so. And if I'm lucky, I'll have sold my house by then.
And everyone will be invited, so yes.
Except Cal.
Yeah, I know.
He'll show up anyway, though.
How else are you gonna get rid of the wine?
I'm a hanger-on.
Well, I know it seems, sometimes really trite, the little saying, it's chance that makes men brothers. You can also say women sisters, but hearts that make them friends. Chance that you're related to someone. But it builds on what you were saying, Jack. Out of all the people in the world, I was so lucky that I knew John my whole life because he was there when I came into the world. He was a part of our family life. When we lived all the different places in the country and we got to know Judy and her parents and just through all those years what John meant to all of us in our family, and not only as the patriarch of the entire Russell clan for generations, and bringing us together after most of the other generation is gone, with your help, always. But just what he was for us, he was a true friend, and whether he shared in really lively and phenomenal political discussions or religious discussions or about the arts. He traveled to Seattle several times to go to weekend contemplative prayer retreats and we shared lots of books through the years, ideas about books, because being a seeker and honoring the spiritual side of life in what is often a materialist-oriented world is sometimes a challenge, and it was really thrilling to be able to be engaged in dialogue with somebody who really understood that and supported that. So he was a phenomenal, loving cousin and an incredible friend. I mean, a deep and true friend. And I also just so appreciate, and this is what Eleanor was talking about, how lucky it is to have so much love in a family, and the love for you, Judy, and all of you. I'm so grateful that you are still a rich and deep part of my life. So here's to John and the richness of family and friendship and the greatness of his spirit and soul.
I was going to say one more thing. I was in spirit of John. I was going over the math in my head, and he's actually 1 in 1.4 billion, not 1 in 1.5.
So he really is John.
I just want to make the mathematical calculation.
Well, if I may say something, I was his niece, and I wish I could invent a word to explain what he was. He wasn't just an uncle, he became a cornerstone in my life and my family's life. He's actually how we ended up in Oregon, and definitely why we stayed. And since I have the floor for a brief moment, I want to say thank you, John. Thank you, Eleanor. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Judy, for sharing all those holidays in your home.